So much to my surprise, when I reviewed Valiant for a friend of mine, I had a good response from that video. So now, I kinda want to talk about my girlfriend's favourite animated film, which is Ponyo. Ponyo is probably my favourite of the Studio Ghibli films, and for good reason. You see, Studio Ghibli can be very jarring to watch, especially if you're not used to them. They have a lot of fantasy-like elements, and at first viewing they can appear very random and have you feeling like the film would be better if you were high and eating Scooby snacks.
I'm so scared. I wish I had a ham sandwich to calm my nerves.
But if you keep watching, you see a lot of dark undertones and a grounded sense of realism that give the films their signature style. But Ponyo for me is probably the most special, because not only is it just a great anime and Studio Ghibli film, but it's a great film in general. Hi there, it's me, the Average Critic, and let's talk about Ponyo, a gateway into imagination. Ponyo starts out like any other animated film. It has the most gorgeous animation that really represents the whole film as being so imaginative. Oh yeah, and Liam Neeson.
You're making a terrible mistake. Don't do it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop changing now. Revert. Revert.
We must briefly mention the cast list. Naturally, I am talking about the dubbed version here, which is actually a really good dubbed version, might I say. There is Liam Neeson, Matt Damon, Tina Fey, Cate Blanchett. The list goes on. This cast is incredible. Liam Neeson is especially a standout for me, and this sort of performance is definitely needed in a film by Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli films, and Ponyo especially, are known for having a lot of fantasy-like elements. Liam Neeson as Fujimoto, as this wacky wizard who lives in a sea, is a fine example of how wacky and wonderful these films are. To the way the character is designed, the clothes he wears, the equipment he uses, it's all so strange and whimsical. And naturally, Liam Neeson with his very unique voice and accent enhance this perfectly. It's almost as if all his lines are improvised, which further adds to this more abnormal way this film is presented. Something which Ponyo does incredibly well is tells its audience to distance themselves from reality. The film brings up so many questions which never get answered. What exactly is Ponyo? How is she magical? How did her father have sex with a literal god? How can Ponyo speak if she's a fish? But that's kind of what makes Ponyo brilliant. The fact that Sasuke is a 5-year-old boy and is left by adults to ride a boat after a tsunami flooding is kind of part of the charm. In today's age of filmmaking, we want all the information to be added because of lore and realistic purposes. But Ponyo says to hell with it and tells you, this is Ponyo, she's a fish, she can talk, she has magic, no questions, deal with it. But there's small details to the creativity that help make Ponyo feel real. A great example is Sasuke's mother. She could easily be left as a simple background character, but instead is given moments of realism and layers to her character that we don't really need, but we get anyway. She gets upset with her husband, she mentions she's always late for work, her insane, crazy, erratic driving.
Let's go for a little ride.
Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket.
Yeah, someone might need to call child services on this one. But all these details make for a laid background character that makes Ponyo work as a film. If the characters surrounding Ponyo weren't realistic, it would take away from the moments of magic that are scattered throughout the film. Ponyo very much distances itself from reality, but it has enough to ground itself to make it feel whimsical. If the film was set in a fictional world against a fictional antagonist, the film wouldn't be as funny or as charming. The film is set in a real place, Sasuke isn't the chosen one, and he doesn't go on a grand adventure to save the world, he goes to find his mother like any 5-year-old boy would want. In between those moments, we have Ponyo acting as the magical side of the story. Except she doesn't use her magic in a grand spectacle, instead chooses to do good deeds for random people she meets, like making the boat bigger and making a baby's cold disappear. This once again grounds the fantasy-like elements to a minimal and gives Ponyo a more human-like qualities as she uses her power for personal use. This mix of fantasy elements grounded by our own world makes for such a joyful watch. This is a much more innocent way of looking at the world through a child's point of view. It's refreshing and it gives the film a more peaceful and relaxing narrative throughout the film. You never feel as if the characters are in any kind of proper danger. You know the ending is going to be happy and joyful. The film score is also so refreshing as its use of classical inspired music heightens everything beautifully. The film is naturally appealing for young children, and considering this score is so classically made, it shows how good classical music is. Modern day films like Trolls, Despicable Me, and the Emoji Movie are saturated with modern styled scores, usually with its inclusion of modern pop songs can be so irritating. But Ponyo proves that original classic score is so amazing and powerful, not just for adults, but for kids too. The music is so heavily involved in the film, and there is barely a scene in this movie that doesn't have a piece of music behind it, which really ties the whole movie together beautifully. The score intertwines with one another, hearing Ponyo's theme throughout the movie in different ways. The score alone is amazing to hear, and hearing this more traditional classical score makes me miss the old ways of animation, taking me back to films like A Bug's Life and Land Before Time. Ponyo naturally has a lot of occurring themes of how we treat our environment, but instead of making it a darker, sinister theme compared to something like Pixar's WALL-E, it does so through a more positive outlook on how we view it. Everything in Ponyo, as I said, is accepted. No one questions why Ponyo can talk, how Ponyo turns from a fish into a human, how creatures of the past somehow end up in the present day. It's all accepted by appreciating the natural world around us. Instead of telling the humans we must change to help the environment, it does so by showing how magical the Earth's natural environment is. This of course is heightened by the fact that Sosuke and Ponyo are children. Where adults might see a simple fish, children see things in a much more extraordinary way, which is why when Sosuke's love for Ponyo and Ponyo for Sosuke is probably one of the most powerful forms of love. It's not romantic, intimate, or playful. It's just pure love and joy for each other, and the most simplicity behind it makes for one of the most sweetest films you can ever watch. Ponyo teaches us that magic exists in our world, perhaps maybe not through the supernatural, but through the good deeds of what we do for normal people. Sure, there are wonderful magical moments that make the film break out from reality, but behind it all is this special bond between a boy and his fish. So I think it would be silly for me if I didn't hand the microphone to the girl who introduced me to this film, Kate.
Hello, 'tis me, said girlfriend. Because as much as I enjoy Disney and like Pixar films, for me, literally nothing compares to the whimsy and magic of Studio Ghibli. Ponyo literally became one of my favorites. It's just one of those films that makes you just so genuinely happy. It's feel good. It brings out like your inner child. There's no thick, heavy plot. It's literally just magic and childlike love. I think the first time I watched it, I just thought, oh, that was cute. And then I kept coming back to it because there's just something like all of the characters just have this really like, they're so innocent. They're all so pure. Everyone's got really good intentions. Even like the closest thing you get to a traditional villain, which isn't really in this film, is Ponyo's dad. But he's not actually a villain. He's just trying to keep his daughter safe. But yeah, I think everyone just has this real innocence about them, and it's just really compelling. But yeah, the visuals are beautiful. I love the animation. The film score, as always with every Ghibli film, is spot on. And there's just so many moments that are so lovable in this film, like Ponyo's weird chicken feet running along waves of fish. And like, even that sentence alone, if someone's never seen Studio Ghibli, they'd be like, what on earth are you talking about? But yeah, like Ponyo with some weird chicken feet running around waves of fish, Lisa's erratic driving, the little old ladies at the home, Ponyo's dad with his little water tank thing, all the little siblings, the little mini Ponyos, and they're all cute and dancing happy. And literally everything just brings me so much joy about this film. And I just think because Studio Ghibli has that really unique style of making films where they don't really need to make sense. It doesn't need this huge plot line. Like obviously there's a story that you follow. You could take any scene out of context and it's just like joyful. It's fun. It doesn't have to be like really defining moments. It's all just like really random fun things that happen to this really cute little fish girl and a little boy and his mother Lisa, who has one of my favorite quotes in Ponyo. There's so many fun quotes from Ponyo, but I love that this girl who was once your son's goldfish comes running out of the waves, hugs your son, and is now like an actual child, like a human child. She's like, life is mysterious and amazing. And I just love that. I love that she doesn't question it. She's just embraces it. And she's like, wow, isn't life great? And that for me like sums up how I feel about Ghibli, as like life is mysterious and amazing, and it really takes you back to when you were a kid and it was all about using your imagination, and you would create these incredible adventures that don't actually make sense in the real world, but they don't have to because they make sense to you. It's almost like a dream. Like they don't quite make sense, but in the dream they do. So because of that, I'm gonna give Ponyo my personal rating of 9.2 out of 10 because I love it so much and it brings me such an intense amount of happiness from one film. But yeah, so hopefully this isn't the last Ghibli review on this channel because I'm making him watch all of them, and yeah, I'm gonna make him do some more reviews and make me part of them. So yeah, watch this space.
Thanks for that, babe. I am also going to give Ponyo a fabulous 9 out of 10 as well. Ponyo is easily one of the best animated films ever, and I can't recommend it enough. But thank you so much for joining me in this video. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of Ponyo if you have seen it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more great content on all things animation. Make sure to give me a follow on my Instagram at ed_swindlehurst. Thank you so much for watching me, guys, and I will see you all in the next one.